As you may or may not know or really care, I didn't get to compete in the Drone Racing League this year as a competitor. However, I was given the opportunity to be a commentator. And so I wanted to bring you behind the scenes of what life was like on the production side of the Drone Racing League to know how much effort and how much amazingness goes into creating this television show. And just I want to highlight all of the awesome people behind the scenes that make how this incredible thing come together. Whether or not you care about DRL or the Drone Racing League or drone racing in general, there's some amazing stuff that goes into it, and I wanted to be able to show all of that stuff to you. So watch this whole video to kind of see what life is like behind the scenes of the largest drone racing event in the world. It is time to head downstairs for a production meeting with the rest of the talent team. Those are the people that are on camera talking about the racing, talking about what's going on. My role for this race will be doing behind the scenes replays, so I'm part of the talent team in that my voice is going to be used on the show, and I think I'm going to be part of the show open. So let's get downstairs, get to that meeting, figure out the story that we're going to tell for the day, and let's hopefully be able to bring you guys along to that meeting. Time for a meeting. Let's do it.
Hey everybody.
Okay, meeting went super great. I'm going to have a pretty tough job for the actual race. So tonight will be rehearsal, so I'll at least get a chance to practice that. But I'm a little bit nervous heading into it. So hopefully tonight will go really well. Hopefully I'll be able to bring this camera and kind of show you what's going on behind the scenes as we're doing rehearsal so that you know what it's going to be like for the actual race. For now though, I need to go find some lunch. How sick is that? You have the finish gate, the big screen, T-Mobile tower. So we're heading over, got our high vis on, got like dress clothes, warmth. It's just a hilarious combination. So let's go over to the event for rehearsals. We stayed across the street from T-Mobile Arena at Park MGM, so we were able to see the venue out the window and just walk across the street to get there. The first step for anyone arriving on site is to check in with security. With so much expensive equipment and high sensitivity information being thrown around, it's crucial to know who is coming and going on site.
Everybody's just checking in, it's a lengthy process, very important. Get all those safety measures out of the way and get everybody checked in and checked out.
Hi, last name Nurkala, N as in November, URKK. Thank you.
Right now we're checking in, day one, Las Vegas, the 2021 DRL Championship. We're here, we're looking at the track, we're checking in for the first time, getting stoked for racing. Look at this, we're in Vegas, we're racing drones. There ain't nothing better than this.
The first thing that I want to highlight about DRL races is simply the absurd scale of the events. It's extremely hard to put into words, let alone into video, but you have to realize that there are literally hundreds of people, thousands of miles of wiring, and countless workers pushing all-night shifts to make sure that everything is set up for these races. There are several PhDs on site dealing with radio frequency, and a large percentage of production people cut their teeth covering the Olympics. Keep in mind that every single light, stage element, and obstacle has been brought in just for this race. The logistics of a DRL event are second to none.
So there's a net that goes all the way from there at that jig lift all the way to the wall. So that audience can be on that side.
For the pilots, the first big interaction that they have when arriving on site is the course walk. During and around the time of racing, the course is closed and only certain people, the drone runners, are allowed to be on the course, so it's the pilots' one chance to see the full course with their own eyes and start planning out lines. Not only does it give pilots the chance to ask questions and see potential hidden risks in their flight lines, but it also gives them the opportunity to assign a 3D world to one that you only experience in 2 dimensions when inside the goggles. When I flew as a pilot in DRL, the course walk was a critical opportunity to start building the route in my mind so that I could practice my flights via mental visualization.
It's super important as a pilot, just figuring out stuff that you don't want to hit. And all these DRL venues, they're built on existing property. So we got pillars, we got rocks. The biggest thing in the course walkthrough is finding the right line and finding out what not to hit.
We are currently doing the walkthrough at the Vegas course for the championship, the finals, the last race. We're doing the walkthrough. One of the scariest courses, to me at least. I'm trying to get fired up, trying not to get too scared, but yeah, excited. Yeah, big thing.
While the pilots are doing their walkthrough, Tech Ops is continuing to set up all of the drones. 600 drones are brought to every race so that each pilot can get a fresh drone for every flight, for every heat, for the entire race. So you never have to fly the same drone twice, because we land them hard into the finish gate, and as a result you want to have a fresh drone on the stand every single time you launch. And so we bring enough drones to make sure that each pilot is able to do it. Not only that, Tech Ops is charging all of the batteries, giving all the GoPros together, getting everything ready so that we can run the flight as smoothly and quickly as possible, going from heat to heat to heat. And beyond the tech ops and beyond all of the technical stuff to run a drone race, we also have a bunch of technical stuff to film a TV show. There are hundreds of incredible cameras placed throughout the course. You have different cameras on each gate. You have microphones on each gate. You have broadcast cameras that are being manned. I think there's something like 10, 12, 14, something like that, cameras that have a person physically maneuvering the camera in one way or the other, and some of those cameras even have multiple people. So it's absolutely incredible to see how all of this stuff, all of these different pieces come together to make the working piece of art that is the Drone Racing League. I can't overstate how amazing it is to see all of those pieces come together to make one cohesive show. Next up, I wanted to bring you behind the cockpit. So this is what the pilot sees when they're operating the drone, when they're here at a drone race. They're sitting up here on the stage at the cockpit, or they've changed the name to the flight deck now. And this is what we see, right? We see the controller, we have our goggles, and there's a little camera staring us straight in the face. And it's not just one camera, but there's actually two cameras, one flanking us on either side that's actually manned by a person. And then there's a ton of lights, and all this stuff changes. So one of the big key differences between a DRL drone race and any other drone race is just the level of production that's staring you in the face when you're here to perform at the highest level against other world-class athletes of drone racing. Is that it's not just, you're sitting in a chair at the field like you normally do. There's now all of this pressure, all of this stuff that's staring you in the face and just begging for you to make a mistake. And that's one of the things I think is the coolest about DRL, is that level of pressure is higher. It's increased by the production value, and that experience is just completely different from everything else out there.
Here at the live events, I'm the flight deck manager. So I babysit the pilots while they're flying on the flight deck, and make sure that they're flying safely, give them instructions on when to arm, disarm the drones, and then once they're flying, I become the referee, essentially calling the shots on technical challenges and things like that. One of the most important things is just making sure that I'm following the cadence. Safety is like the most important thing for our races, so ensuring that we're following all those safety protocols as to when the pilots can pick up their radios and controllers, when they can arm the drones, disarm the drones, and making sure that we follow those procedures to make sure that no drones get armed when they're not supposed to. Other than that, the stressful part is making the calls. The pilots do not like me most of the time. I'm making calls that they disagree with, and that's all part of our friendship.
Included in the pilot's lists of responsibilities pre-show is to get just a little bit of makeup done. I've been in this seat many times. I feel his pain.
I am a drone runner. Yeah, I pick up crashed and uncrashed and flown drones and take them back to Tech Ops, so they ain't got to. So we get all the steps in, up and down the track.
So what exactly is my job? My job is the replay production coordinator, I guess. Basically, when the entire race is finished, we're going to replay all of the race, and I'm going to react to what we saw and try to break it down for the audience. My goal is to say, this is what happened, this is why it's important, and then try to make it digestible for an audience that doesn't necessarily understand drone racing. So I'm trying to watch for all of the little minutia that you wouldn't necessarily pick up watching it through the first time, but then break it down piece by piece so that an individual audience member that's maybe never seen drone racing before for the first time can take something away from it and be like, oh, that's why that was super cool. Like, yeah, it looked really cool, the drone crashed, whatever, but here's why it was important. Here's how it drives the story of the drone race. And yeah, the drone race is something that is real, that's happening in real time, that we can't predict necessarily, but what we can do is pull the story out of what's happening in real time and try to communicate what's happened in that moment. Well, right off the start, Gab 707 had an incredible launch, but it was up to Vanover to catch him for the rest of the race. Gab got way out front, but he kept using opportunities like this to keep him out of the distance. Gab 707 had a little bit wider of a turn around the T-Mobile tower, which allowed Vanover to slowly start reeling him in until this big mistake in the T-Mobile tunnel. Gab had to check up, and that caught Vanover up to Gab, and they were neck and neck for the rest of the race. It came all the way down to the very end, the very finish, where they're still prop to prop, side to side, even coming through the Penny Gate. They touch a little bit, they go around the T-Mobile tunnel, and then it's a dead-on sprint to the finish. Gab just barely holds him off from that good start, but that's the racing we want to see. At this point, I was still a little bit nervous and needing practice, so I was a little bit excited when I nailed one. So we're just rehearsing our way through the ranking rounds. It's essentially real racing, so it gives us an opportunity to practice like the cadence of everything that's actually happening. So I'm watching the race, I see the program, what they're actually displaying, as well as what the replay operators are saying, and then I'm trying to kind of live talk to what I'm seeing here so that we can have like kind of my fresh, real, genuine, excited reaction to what's going on. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it doesn't. So you can see me kind of celebrating when it does actually work.
Yeah, I mean, for some pilots, it's like Flexi, for example. He's like, yeah, you know? Yeah.
All right, it's race day. Time to head over to the track. The next cool part about being behind the scenes at a Drone Racing League event is to see what life is like in the truck. We have a full production truck that has all of this awesome information that's being piped into the central system to be able to control all of the cameras, all of the recordings, all of the just everything for the entire show. In this half of the truck, we're looking at the replay side. So these are the guys that I work with that are absolutely incredible. They're able to pull up any clip at any given moment using this tool that they have in front of them to be able to see and replay at slow motion or at fast motion or whatever they need to do so that I can kind of talk over it. And these guys are so fast with it, they can pull up 2 clips each. There's 4 guys that can all pull them up. So we could have up to 8 replays playing in real time at any given moment. So they're going to pull this stuff up. I'm going to tell them, please pull this, please pull that, please pull this other thing, and that's what's going to show up on my monitors over in my truck. On this side of the booth, we've got the guys that do the graphics. So these guys are setting up in real time each of the graphics for the pilots. So when somebody wins, when somebody loses, the current standings, all of that good stuff, they're able to make sure that each of those different elements show up in real time on screen for the audience that's physically there. Not only are we doing this all for the broadcast, but we're setting it up for future live events. Then finally here at the very back of the room, the big screens are where the director and the operator and the editor and the producer all sit. They're able to look at literally every single camera on the entire field, including the FPV feeds, and be able to make a call on what camera they want to see next. So they're going to, ready camera 1, go 1, ready camera 2, go 2. And they're going to show the race as they deem it best fit for the audience members, and they're able to talk to each of the camera operators. They're able to talk to everybody that's out on the field using the headsets that they've got on with some special buttons. Just like semifinal 2, semifinal 3 was the battle between Heads Up and Gab 707. As we watch this race, we're going to see... This job was way harder than I thought it was going to be, if I'm going to be fully honest. There's a lot of different pieces of information that you have to keep in your mind. I mean, it's something as simple as the names of the pilots. You start to forget as you're trying to pay attention to as many different things at the same time as you possibly can. It gets really overwhelming. I'm trying to pull in different stats about what is happening on course, what the overall season standings are, what the pilots' names are, what the pilots did in that heat, what the next clip is going to be as I'm talking over it. Reacting to something live and in real time and in coherent sentences is way, way harder than I ever expected it to be. And then on top of that, I'm trying to put as much emotion into it as I can to make you guys feel the excitement that I'm feeling in this exact moment. To pass him again, but he pushes it a little bit too hard and crashes out here at the T-Mobile Tower. That gives Heads Up a clean run to the finish. Well, that's it. We're just hanging out, watching the finals from our booth here, and it's pretty awesome. Night went awesome. I think I gave some okay replays, some good, some bad, and it was a great time. So Awesome. Thanks for coming for the behind the scenes of this event. So stoked that you guys were able to come along for this adventure and stay flying. Race go tonight, boys.
Fantastic. He's the expert. I just talk for a living. Jordan?
It was good racing, man. It was exciting. A lot more crashing than I expected, to be honest. Like a course like this, I thought they were going to be blazing through it, but they were blazing into things instead.
Let's hit it.